The Bears lost their opening game 38-20, and honestly, I'd planned to do dissecting a drive on the defense this week, but in watching the offensive tape back, there's a drive that we have to talk about because for better or for worse, it pretty much describes the entire football game. It's the Bears' second drive of the day, right after Chicago had failed a 4th-and-1 conversion that led to Green Bay taking a 7-0 lead, and then they get the ball back, and from there, well, let's get into it. The drive starts out pretty well with Chicago in what might as well be the base formation of their offense, a 3-receiver set in 11 personnel with Cole Kmet, Khalil Herbert, Chase Claypool, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney on the field, and Justin Fields in the shotgun. But a quick motion that pulls Kmet from one side of the formation to the other rolls this safety up and shows that the Packers are in what is more than likely cover 3. And that suits the Bears just fine because they've got a sprint out that has Darnell Mooney running a smash corner with, I think it's DJ Moore, just occupying space on the right-hand side, and this works just fine for Justin Fields. It might be an easy completion to DJ Moore, but once Jair Alexander jumps this, just like Fields talked about before the game, Darnell Mooney is wide open, Fields gets him the ball, and the Bears have started hot and already pushed the ball just near field goal range. Now, is this throw where Fields wants the ball placement? Probably not, and I'm sure he'd tell you the same, because taking a look from the tight angle, we can see that Fields leaves the ball behind Darnell Mooney rather than leading him for a little bit of extra yank, even though it is a throw 30 yards downfield on the run. But this is year 3 for a quarterback. It's time to lay valid criticism on Fields without delving into the over-criticism where we start picking on the way he breathes, the way he wears his shoes, and every little thing. Could this throw be better? Probably, but it's the best play in the drive by quite a wide margin, and there's plenty of valid criticism that we'll get into later in the video. For the purposes of this breakdown, let's leave it at that and move on to play number 2. This already starts to feature some weirdness from the offense because the Bears are going to use Cole Kmet at the snap, and here it looks like Justin Fields would be feinting the read option that he was so dangerous with last year, but based on the way Darnell Mooney and DJ Moore set up to block this, it doesn't look like Fields actually has the ability to pull this ball, and if he does, he would be pulling it and going straight up the gut and taking a hit from a crashing safety. Feels like a straight handoff all the way, which to me feels like a bit of a waste. I mean, yes, the Bears lose 3 yards, and it sounds like I'm being hypercritical, but why wouldn't you want the Bears having two what you'd call arc blocks that get their receivers out into space? Darnell Mooney can block a little bit, and DJ Moore can too, and with an end crashing like you see 47, it is just ripe for one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the NFL to pull the ball and get a one-on-one in some open space where if he beats him, who's to say how many yards he gets on the sidelines? Instead, 95 beating Nate Davis up inside the formation means that 47 is quick enough to go get Herbert for a loss of 3, and the Bears have already started behind the chains. Seriously, look at how quick 47 crashes down, and again, you can take a look at Nate Davis, who it looks like could have been able to use the extra practice that he skipped out on camp. Play 2 in the books, 2nd and 13. And play number 3 has gotten pretty famous on Twitter, so I won't belabor the point, but the Bears are going to motion Darnell Mooney across the formation, just like the Dolphins do with Tyreek Hill, and then they're going to send Mooney and Moore vertical. And this is that play where Moore's going to get open on what we'd call a sail route very, very clearly, and, well, Fields doesn't throw it, and there's not a great reason why. As far as the coverage goes, the Packers are in what certainly looks like a quarters look, so they've got 4 deep, but with Mooney occupying Jair Alexander, this safety, especially with his hips pointed up here, is in no position to compete with Moore on an outbreaking route, which is exactly what Moore is on. So as we slow it down here, you'll see that's not even NFL open. That's college football open, that's high school football open. And when we rewind it a little bit, Fields is looking that way. He's staring straight at the safety. I honestly have no idea why he doesn't throw this ball. It's kind of reminiscent of that cover 2 throw he didn't throw in the preseason over the middle to Darnell Mooney. The check down is just as viable here. If there's anything that works out for Fields, is that he's totally right. Quay Walker is in no position to defend, I think it's Foreman on the check down here, or maybe it's Herbert. but he's able to rip right upfield and pick up a first down on 2nd and 13. So it's a positive play. It's just not the chunk that we might have been able to get, because if you do hit more, especially if you're able to hit him in stride, suddenly you've got a receiver with the ball in his hands, probably within this pocket right here. A safety is chasing him, but it's not a guaranteed tackle, and Mooney is in a one-on-one blocking situation with Jair Alexander. These things aren't some automatic touchdown, but if we saw anything in the preseason, it's that when you get the ball to special playmakers, they can make you special plays, and it feels like we lost one here, though we did pick up the first down, and that's a positive. I know it's a good thing that Fields is taking his checkdowns and certainly avoiding sacks, but we've got to hit our strikes downfield when we get them, else it's tough for the defense to back off, especially when, like we see on this play, you never know when you're about to make a mistake that backs your offense up, and here at the 30, the Bears commit not one, but 2 false start penalties, so I'll just go ahead and start fast forwarding here. False start here on, I think it's Braxton Jones, and then another false start that if you go back under center, you can see it kind of feels like Lucas Patrick and the rest of the offensive line don't quite know what's going on, if only because Cole Kmet jumps so quickly here. Boom, right there alongside Braxton Jones before the ball's ever moved, plus a little bit of Nate Davis and Darnell Wright action. Feels like Patrick may have been slow on this snap, and I didn't think Patrick had a phenomenal game, though I'm not trying to pin it on him. But that brings up play number 6, and in my opinion, this is where a couple more of the problems emerge. So the Bears are running one of the more boring plays you'll see in the playbook. I've heard it called Omaha Spot Dig, but they're going to have Deontay Foreman pull across the formation at the snap. They're going to have DJ Moore run a dig. They're going to have, I think it's Roschon Johnson, their 21 personnel, believe it or not, run a spot route right here. Darnell Mooney is going to try to win on what you'd call an Omaha route, an out route, and Cole Kmet's just going to clear some space on a little curl right here. It's a full field progression. In a lot of cases, people will start with number 1 over here, then they'll work back to number 2, number 3. I honestly can't remember the assortment of which one goes here, with the check down here as the last read in the progression. So as the play kicks off, you'll see that the Packers look once again like they're in cover 3. They're ready for the Bears, whatever they have, and 29 is going to drive on Mooney's out route, but also Mooney doesn't do a fabulous job, let's call it like it is, of selling anything other than an out route right here. You can see him already bending, and this corner has no questions about what's coming in his direction, and you would hope that at the very least you could keep the corner in a position just like Jair Alexander is up here, where if his weight is headed backwards, thinks maybe he's got some kind of vertical route coming his way, that he'll stay out of the picture and give Justin Fields an easy throw here on first down. Instead, Mooney gets locked up, so Fields starts to move through the rest of the progressions. Roschon Johnson, maybe if you really stick the ball on him, he's open, but I'm not going to worry about that. The flat route that we pulled across the formation certainly is open, but so is the middle of the field. And when we're talking about Justin Fields in particular, we're not talking about Tyson Bagent, as fun as Tyson is to cover. He's one of the most electric runners in football, and if he calls his own number with that kind of space, it's never the wrong decision, though who knows, maybe the flat could have picked up a little more yards. Would have been just a matter of who makes a tackle one-on-one. Now, the route spacing on this play starts to rear a little bit of its ugly head, and I did ask a coaching friend about this, so I'm meshing both of our opinions together. But because Roschon Johnson curls so close to the line right here, not only is this linebacker able to squeeze him, but you're not doing anything to pull this corner out of what should be DJ Moore's window. Basically, ask yourself this: as this play is resolving, under what circumstance would DJ Moore be open? Because it should be this throwing lane right here. Instead, Roschon's standing right in the middle of it. Now, is that Roschon's mistake because he ran the route wrong? Or is that Luke Getsy's mistake because this is how he organized it and it's not great? I can tell you most Omaha outbreakers involve Cole Kmet facing this way and following the space that Mooney would have created, just in case this defender drives towards Darnell Mooney and leaves Cole Kmet open, but I digress. It's just weird schematic hiccups, if you ask me, within this Bears offense, and maybe Justin Fields could have distributed the flat route, but again, it's the last route in the progression. It's what Mac Jones would have done, but Justin Fields calling his own number is never an issue, especially when we get 8 yards. It brings us to play number 7 though, and you may have also seen this one in Tim Jenkins' breakdown on Twitter, but it's definitely a miss that we'd like to have back. Now, as far as formations go, I want to put something together on Luke Getsy wondering why Kari Blasingame got split out so often. I get that we're willing to use creative formations, but what does having a fullback lined up out wide really do for us? And if we were going to do this, why wouldn't we just activate Equanimeous St. Brown? He's just as solid a blocker. But the Bears are going to run a mesh-like play. It's not exactly mesh. It's going to have DJ Moore coming across the field right here with Cole Kmet coming over the top and Chase Claypool as that first read, not unlike the usual wheel route that you'll often see associated with mesh right here. So he's first read, looks like Moore is second read, Kmet is third read, going right to left. And maybe you'll see it, but Fields takes the snap. He looks at Chase Claypool. It's a double move, thinks maybe we'll get it. He's hanging on to him. DJ Moore's route is resolving, and you tell me who's open. Here, I'll skip to the back line so that you can see it, because especially here, number 7 breaks towards DJ Moore, and suddenly Cole Kmet is right there. If we throw it right now, we could probably get it to Cole Kmet. And, would you believe it, he's standing at the first down line. But instead, we turn the throw down, we end up going to the check down. We get some yardage, certainly. I mean, 5 yards is better than nothing. This could have been a sack in some of Fields' more recent years. Braxton Jones, by the way, does a decent job battling Preston Smith off. It's not a pretty rep at all, but it's a grindy workman's rep as Braxton gets back into the play to keep Smith off of Fields. But a turn down like this is going to bother any offensive coordinator, especially when Justin Fields loves mesh. He's been running mesh since Ohio State. Matt Nagy ran mesh for him all the time. The Bears ran mesh quite often last year. This is a concept he's supposed to be comfortable with, and this spot route has to be thrown on time or it can't get thrown at all. There's no better, call it a decoy, for this route than DJ Moore drawing the attention he does, and Fields staring at him certainly draws that attention, as we see with that break right there that only opens Cole Kmet that little bit more. But even with a linebacker standing right here, the hope would be that you can take one look at DJ Moore to move the linebacker and rip the ball to Cole Kmet. If Jordan Love can move Tremaine Edmonds outside of his eye line for Jaden Reed, we can expect the same of Justin Fields. But that's just my 2 cents. It's year 3. We've got to see growth from Justin at this point. But the Bears do get 5 yards, moving them into 3rd and 7, and then on play number 8, it's as if we threw in the towel. The Bears are on the 30, and it's as if they wanted the safest thing possible that wouldn't lose yards, because after a quick motion, the Bears are going to run that screen that you've seen to Claypool, and nothing goes right for Chicago. Not only out of this 5-wide formation have the Packers been crashing the end up the field just in case they can get into a passing lane like the one the Bears are on, not only is this corner already anticipating screen. I don't know what tell the Bears are giving away, but when we take a look under center, you'll see the snap is way wide of Justin Fields. It's on the other side of his body, meaning that by the time Fields gets himself set, he's behind and it has nothing to do with him. This play just goes afoul from the start. But 3rd and 7, and we're calling a screen to the outside. Kind of a bummer of a play call if you ask me. Maybe I'm second guessing. You be the judge in the comments. But overall, I felt like this drive, looking back, we see penalties hurt Chicago when you least needed them. We see some plays by Justin Fields, but a couple left on the field that still turned into decent gains. Both of those turn downs, one became a first down, another became 5 core yards. Is that a problem? It may become one. It's better than last year, where some of those may have been losses of yards, incomplete passes, sacks, or quarterback hits, but in the NFL, we got to hit those throws when they're open for us, or else we're going to get calls on 3rd and 7 where it's as if Luke Getsy didn't trust the offense to not lose yards and didn't want to give up the field goal position that the offense had already earned. I don't know. It's got to change by next week, though. Tonight, 8 p.m., if you're watching this on Tuesday, we'll be going through different parts of the Bears film, so come hang out on this channel. But until next time, Bears fans, do let me know what you think of this. Is this format working for you? Do you need to change things? things, but I'll see if I can't put together a defensive breakdown sometime tomorrow, because while the defense broke down enough on its own, it's worth dissecting a drive of theirs too. Until next time, have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.